Welcome to our professional training series in divination, tarot, and astrology. The following training in astrology was developed for students that are going through the courses with the School of Our Divine Infinite Being. We wanted to make our training available to the general public here on YouTube, while also encouraging those interested in a career as a divination professional in astrology and tarot to check out our programs at www.divineinfinitebeing.com. We have post-graduation program assistance that you will not find anywhere else. This includes live video consultation technology, calendar booking, social share tools, affiliate program development, e-commerce, and the opportunity to take clients from the marketing efforts of our talented in-house staff. Again, you can find all of this at www.divineinfinitebeing.com. We hope you enjoy this training. Instructional Guide: How to conduct client readings in our astrology system. Throughout this training, we will fluidly shift between speaking in the first person, addressing you directly as the astrologer, and the third person, as if you were speaking to a client. This intentional approach allows you to experience both perspectives, the practitioner's internal understanding and the client-facing dialogue, helping you embody both roles as we progress through the material. Number 1. Foundational Principle: Intake plus Intention. Your reading begins with intention and insight. Every astrology session begins with one essential truth. You are not a random collection of signs and symbols. You are a soul with intention, purpose, and direction. Before we open your chart, we begin by listening to you. What we ask: what are you seeking from this reading? Is there a decision, transition, or emotional weight in your life right now? Are you curious about timing, purpose, relationships, or identity? Your answers help us focus on what matters most to you, not just what's astrologically significant. What you receive: a reading that's grounded in your chart but led by your intention. A flow that aligns your lived experience with planetary cycles. The option to go deep, stay strategic, or explore symbolic insights. Your path guides the session. We don't read everything in one go. We read what is alive in you now. Your chart becomes a conversation, not a diagnosis. A. Pre-session Review: Interpreting the Intake. Before the session, read through the form with an eye towards: Number 1. Client's primary concern. What specific issue are they focused on? Example: career change, marriage, personal growth, confusion. Is it past-oriented, healing, origin? Present: clarity, conflict, or future, decision-making, direction. Number 2. Life domain signals. Are they asking about love? That orients the reading to the 5th and 7th house and Venus, Mars, Moon. Is it about life purpose or burnout? You'll look at the midheaven, nodes, Saturn. Do they mention reoccurring trauma or psychological themes? 12th, 4th, 8th houses and outer planets become key. This helps you pre-select which chart types and layers to pull into the session. B. Defining intention at the start of the session. Even with a filled form, the real gold comes from the first 5 to 10 minutes of live dialogue. Questions to elicit true intention. I read through your form and it seems like you're at a transition point. In your own words, what would you most love to leave today's session with? There's a lot we could explore. If we had only 20 minutes left, what would you want to make sure we didn't miss? Are you looking more for insight and understanding, or would you prefer specific timing guidance and practical direction? These questions shift from passive reception to co-creation, help the astrologer narrow focus, prevent you from wasting time on areas they don't actually care about right now. C. Translating intention into astrological strategy. Once intention is clear, ask yourself:
Client intention. Why do I keep repeating the same relationship? Your astrological focus. Nettle, Venus, Moon, Saturn aspects. 7th house. Transits activating Venus or descendant. Client intention. Should I move to another city this year? Your astrological focus. 4th, 9th houses, transits to IC/MC axis, lunar return, Saturn and Jupiter timing. Client intention. I feel spiritually lost. Your astrological focus. 12th house planets, Neptune, North Node, Charon, Decan overlays for transcendence. Client intention. When's the right time to start my business? Your astrological focus. 2nd, 6th, 10th houses. Transits of Mars/Jupiter. Saturn return or Mars return windows. Client intention. Why do I always feel blocked? Your astrological focus. Nettle, Saturn, Pluto, Charon. Hard aspects to personal planets. Decans with limitation archetypes.
This gives you a narrative and technical strategy for how to approach the chart with surgical precision. D. When the client has multiple intentions. Sometimes clients aren't clear. They may check 10 boxes in the intake. In that case, gently mirror back what you've observed. You mentioned love, career, and spiritual life. Do you sense they're connected, or would it be better to prioritize one today? If they still don't know, anchor in their Saturn or North Node. Use their developmental tasks to shape the reading even if they're unsure. Even if we don't solve the whole question today, this shows the deeper lessons that's unfolding for you. E. Why this is so crucial. Without this phase, the reading becomes scattered, jumping between planets and houses with no story. The client may leave more confused or overwhelmed. You risk overusing secondary tools, tarot, overlays, because you're trying to find meaning instead of anchoring in a focused theme. But with clear intention, every chart component has a reason for being introduced. The client feels seen, understood, and guided. Your interpretation becomes purposeful storytelling, not a data dump. Number 2, first reading structure, what to cover and why. What you receive are reading formats. Every session is customized to your life's moment. Depending on what you've experienced, whether you're at a threshold, in a transition, or simply curious, we select the right chart type to guide the reading. Here's an overview of the powerful tools we use and what each one reveals about you. Nativity birth chart. Your soul's blueprint. This is the chart cast for the exact date, time, and location of your birth. It lays out your life purpose and karmic lessons. Core personality dynamics, sun, moon, rising. Emotional wiring, desires, strengths, and shadow themes. Relationship instincts, vocational potential, and dharma. Recommended for all first-time clients, this chart anchors all other readings. Solar return, your personal new year. A chart cast each year on your birthday, showing your focus and themes for the next 12 months. You'll uncover emotional growth points and internal priorities, opportunities in career, love, health, and spirituality, areas of challenge or reset, best timing windows for important actions. Ideal for birthday session, major planning, or navigating a fresh cycle. Monthly transits, a dynamic view of what's happening right now. This reading tracks the momentum of current planets as they interact with your natal chart. You'll receive clear timing for opportunity, caution, or action, guidance on when to push forward versus pause, context for emotional shifts, conflicts, or breakthroughs, strategic awareness of the month's key planetary trends, especially useful for decision-making, creative launches, career shifts, or relationships. Lunar return, a highly intuitive monthly reading focused on your emotional landscape. Each month, the moon returns to your natal position, creating a new chart that reveals your instinctual focus and subconscious patterns, sensitivities, mood shifts, and psychic tone of the month. What nourishes you now and what to release. Often used to complement monthly transits with emotional depth and dreamwork guidance. Relationship charts, your energetic chemistry with another, romantic, platonic, or professional. These tools may be used. Synastry, how your charts interact, compatibility, friction, karmic pulls. Composite, the relationship as a third entity, shared goals, emotional tone. Transit overlay, what's happening now in the relationship timeline. Best for couples, business partners, or navigating breakups, beginnings, or soulmates. Horary, predictive event reading. A moment-based reading for a specific question. The chart is cast at the exact time and location the question is asked, providing clear symbolic answers. Used for yes-no outcomes. Example, will I get this job? Timelines and clarity around decisions. Questions where a direct response is needed more than psychological exploration. Best for urgent, situational, or binary questions. Jupiter return occurs every 12 years, marking a new cycle of expansion. This reading uncovers where your greatest growth and luck are surfacing, the nature of your spiritual learning for the next cycle, opportunities in faith, travel, teaching, or abundance. Ideal for entering a new life chapter or seeking vision, direction, and upliftment. Saturn return happens around ages 29, 58, and 87, your karmic checkpoint. This reading offers insights into soul responsibilities maturing at this life stage, hard truths, commitments, and structures forming, what you're being called to build, claim, or leave behind. Deeply supportive during life restructuring, identity crises, or long-term planning. Mars return, a 2-year rhythm that governs action and desire, reveals what's fueling your ambition now, how you assert yourself or deal with conflict, the best outlets for physical, creative, or sexual energy, recommended for career planning, burnout recovery, or self-discipline resets. Uranus opposition occurs around age 42, your midlife awakening. This chart helps you navigate breakthroughs, rebellion, and internal earthquakes. The call towards freedom, authenticity, and radical change. Letting go of roles, obligations, or identities that no longer fit. Designed for those undergoing midlife shifts, spiritual awakenings, or disruptive transformation. How we read them. Your session will focus on one or more of these products based on your core question or moment in life, your chart's current activity, transits, returns, etc., what's emotionally, karmically, or practically relevant right now. We don't force every chart, we use what aligns with your intention. Think of it as choosing the right lens to reveal the message already waiting in your life. From intention to interpretation. Once the client's intention has been clarified, your next step is to translate that intention into a focused, meaningful chart analysis. This is where the true artistry of a first reading lies, not in how much ground you cover, but in how precisely you illuminate the patterns relevant to the client's question or experience. The key shift here is from gathering intention to building a thematic narrative through astrology. Now let's walk through how to structure the first session, making each step intentional, connected, and digestible. A. Begin with core chart orientation, 5 to 10 minutes. Purpose. Build shared language and map the client's cosmic blueprint in broad strokes before diving into specifics. Rather than doing a house-by-house or planet-by-planet breakdown, which overwhelms and dilutes focus, orient the client around 3 to 5 structural anchors. Key anchors to introduce: rising sign and chart ruler. This frames the lens through which you experience life. Sun plus moon shows the contrast of unity of conscious identity versus emotional needs. Saturn and North Node introduces their karmic contract and responsibility path. Any planetary stellium or intercepted signs identify concentration or suppression zones. This step creates a container for everything else. It allows you to say later, this current Pluto transit is activating the very theme we saw with your natal moon in the 8th. Avoid going deep into aspects or outer planets just yet. You're still establishing familiarity and orientation. B. Focus the reading around the intention, 30 to 40 minutes. Now that the client knows where they stand in the chart structure, you move to zoom in on the specific concern they brought to you, using your trained judgment to select the most relevant techniques. Strategy by intention type.
Client focus, career/life direction, astrological layers to prioritize, 10th house, MC, chart ruler aspects, Saturn cycles, outer planet transits to angular houses. Client focus, relationship patterns, astrological layers to prioritize, 5th/7th houses, Venus/Mars dynamics, moon needs, Saturn/Venus patterns, and any outer planet overlays. Client focus, Spiritual confusion. Astrological layers to prioritize. 12th/9th house, Neptune. Nodes, Chiron. Planetary retrogrades, decans linked to archetypal suffering. Client focus. Relocation/timing decision. Astrological layers to prioritize. 4th/9th axis, lunar return charts. Jupiter/Saturn/Pluto transitions, angular house activations. Client focus, emotional cycles or trauma. Astrological layers to prioritize. Moon, 8th/12th houses, Pluto/Saturn aspects. Family imprints in the IC and 4th house.
Make this a deep dive, not a list. Choose 2 to 3 focal areas and expand with rich interpretive language, real-world analogies, and emotionally resonant metaphors. If their intention overlaps multiple life domains, example, career plus relationship, find the underlying chart theme that connects them, like a Venus-Saturn square or Pluto transit to their IC. C. Layer transits or predictive tools to ground the theme, 10 to 15 minutes. Once the natal root has been explored, move to the timing dimension, but only to the extent that it enhances the story already emerging. Steps. Identify any major transits aligning with the theme. Example, you're in a Saturn square to your natal Venus, which often brings up the exact kind of relational test you mentioned. If relevant, bring in a lunar return, solar return, or progressions to highlight emotional cycles or yearly themes. Use word association charts or tarot decan overlays only after establishing the transit's classical effect. Neptune squaring your moon can feel like emotional fog. In our system, this transit leaks to the keyword dissolve and aligns with the Seven of Cups, the temptation to escape into fantasy or lose boundaries emotionally. This is where your system's unique strengths shine, but always in support of the classical reading, not as a replacement. D. End with integration plus guidance, 5 to 10 minutes. Purpose. The client should leave feeling clear, oriented, and grounded in both meaning and direction. Suggestions. Summarize in story format. So you're in a moment where the chart is urging you to step into a more integrated expression of your emotional needs and your public role. It's uncomfortable but timely. Name the development phase. You're in a Satyrian phase for the next 18 months. This is about slow building, redefining values, and clearing relationships that no longer serve. Optional. Offer a symbolic task or reflection based on tarot overlay, archetype, or word association. This helps them embody the energy. Why this flow works. It respects the client's intention as the guidepost. It prioritizes depth over coverage. It makes use of your rich system only when it enhances clarity. It maintains a clear beginning, middle, and end. Avoid these common pitfalls. Reading too much of the chart. You are not responsible for revealing everything. A first reading is about resonance and clarity, not completion. Starting with transits before understanding the natal base. Predictive work without context leads to confusion. Using overlay prematurely. Wait until the client is oriented in their own story before introducing symbolic enhancements. Questions to ask in a reading. Purpose of asking questions. Astrological interpretation is not a lecture. It's a dialogue between the client's lived experience and the chart's symbolic language. The right questions guide your interpretive focus, help the client locate themselves in the themes you present, reveal whether to go deeper or move on. Clarify how a planetary configuration is expressing uniquely in the person's life. Questions turn the reading into a conversation with fate, not a monologue about it. A. Opening questions, clarifying intention in real time. These are especially useful if the intake form had multiple topics or if the client seems unsure. When you thought about booking this session, what was weighing most on your mind? Is there something in your life that feels like it's reaching a turning point right now? If this session could give you just one thing, what would it be? What do you hope is different after we finish the session? These questions not only clarify intention, but also let the client emotionally invest in the reading from the start. B. Orienting questions, confirming natal expressions. Use these to ensure your interpretation aligns with the client's experience, especially early in the session as you describe the chart's core features. Examples: do you tend to identify more with your rising sign or your sun sign in day-to-day life? Does it feel like your emotional world is more inward or easily shared? Would you describe yourself as more reactive or more reflective? How do you respond when your environment changes suddenly, with excitement or resistance? These questions invite the client to validate or adjust how a planetary placement manifests, making the reading adaptive and precise. C. Refining questions, navigating themes during the session. Once you're working through their intention, these questions help tighten the interpretive lens or move deeper into key dynamics. When working on relationships, do you find yourself in the same relational pattern repeatedly? When you fall in love, is it fast and intense or slow and cautious? Do you tend to attract partners who are similar or opposite to your emotional style? When discussing career or life direction, have you ever had a strong sense of calling, or has it felt more like a trial and error? Do you feel you've outgrown your current environment, or are you seeking change from restlessness? When decoding emotional or psychological themes, does it feel like you're carrying something emotionally that doesn't belong to you? Have you noticed a recurring theme around trust, safety, or emotional exposure in your life? These questions are diagnostic. They allow you to understand not just what is showing up, but how the client relates to it. D. Timing and predictive questions, when working with transits or returns. Here, you're checking if a transit or return has begun expressing and how it's unfolding. Have you noticed anything beginning to shift in the past few weeks around this theme? How are you handling pressure or delays right now? Do you feel like you're being asked to wait or to act? Does this feel like a chapter is ending, beginning, or intensifying? For long-range tools like Saturn return or Uranus opposition, what was happening for you about 7 years ago when this cycle started? What's the one part of your life that feels most unstable or dynamic right now? These questions time anchor the reading and allow your interpretation to stay real and actionable. E. Closing questions, inviting reflection plus future direction. As the session winds down, return the voice to the client to ensure integration. Does this land with where you are in your life right now? Was there anything unexpected that really resonated? Do you feel more oriented in this question now? What feels like your next step from here? You can also gently suggest a follow-up by saying, this theme is part of a larger cycle. If you ever want to track it through the next few phases, we could explore your solar return or a key lunar window together. Why this section matters. Without structured questions, the reading can become astrologer-driven and disengaged. Clients may forget or not internalize what they're hearing. You might miss key details that radically shift the interpretation. With the right questions, the session becomes personal, not general. Clients discover new truths with you. The chart comes alive in their language and experience. 4. Sample session formats by intention. Why this matters. Clients don't walk in asking to explore the ruler of their midheaven squaring Saturn. They ask, should I quit my job? Why do I keep attracting the same kind of partner? Why do I feel blocked? Is this relationship worth fighting for? What's my purpose? Each of these require a different starting point, interpretive method, and pacing. A. Intention. I want to understand myself better. Purpose, self-discovery, identity. Format. Start with chart orientation, rising, sun, moon, chart ruler. Emphasize tensions or harmonies between personality layers. Add life direction axis, midheaven, IC, nodes, Saturn. Frame dharma, karma, responsibility, and fulfillment. Introduce emotional terrain, 4th, 8th, and 12th house. Moon aspects. Explore inner patterns, coping, ancestral echoes. Use word associations, tarot overlays. only if they need help expressing internalized or unconscious themes. Tools: natal chart only. Use no more than 2 tarot decan overlays. Optional, after symbolic archetypes or phase to integrate. B. Intention. What's going on in my relationship? Relational inquiry, synastry. Format: natal emotional style. Moon, Venus, 5th and 7th house rulers. How you love, what you seek, what you avoid. Relational karma, Saturn, Venus. Nodes in 7th or 8th house. Blocks, tests, or repeating storylines. Current transits to 7th ruler or personal planets. What's being activated right now? If date of partner is available, synastry or composite. Focus only on 1 to 2 major synastry alignments. Tarot decan overlay. Use the associated decan tarot card to bring a deeper reflection. Tools: natal chart, partner's chart optional. Word associations for Venus and Moon. Optional synastry or composite overlays. C. Intention. I'm at a crossroads. What should I do? Life change, career, decision making. Format: 1. Natal indicators of vocation. 2nd, 6th, and 10th houses, midheaven and Saturn. Natal talents versus karmic challenges. 2. Progressed Moon plus Saturn, Jupiter transit. What developmental stage are they in? 3. Lunar return or solar return if birthday is near. Highlight short-term climate. 4. Naming the phase. This is a building year. This is a letting go chapter. Tools: natal chart, transits, lunar return optional. 1 to 2 key word association terms. Example: integrity, pivot. D. Intention. Why do I feel blocked, stuck, lost? Psycho-spiritual reading, pattern breaking. Format: 1. Moon plus Saturn plus Chiron plus Pluto. Natal tensions. Map the psycho-emotional territory of difficulty. 2. 12th, 4th, and 8th houses. Unconscious material. Origins of shame, guilt, abandonment, grief. 3. Neptune transits or retrogrades, fog, soul loss, or confusion. 4. Tarot overlay for the 12th house, Chiron placement. Offer narrative to name what they haven't been able to voice. Tools: natal chart, transits, Pluto, Neptune, Chiron. Word associations around block language. Tarot decan overlays only to support insight. E. Intention. I need timing. When should I? Event planning, forecasting. Format: 1. Identify the natal anchor, planet, house linked to theme. Example: marriage, Venus, 7th house. Launch, 10th house, Mars. Relocation, 4th house. 2. Check for upcoming outer planet transits. Filter for stability or transformation. 3. Lunar returns or progressions. Is this a beginning, culmination, or void phase? 4. Layer word associations. Add guidance via phrasing. This is a moment for refinement, not expansion. Tools: natal chart, transits, lunar return. Decan overlay only for major outer transits, Pluto, Neptune. F. Intention. Am I on the right path? Existential reading, spiritual navigation. Format: 1. North node plus Saturn plus 12th house themes. Show the path of growth versus comfort. 2. Jupiter and Neptune activity. Spiritual openings, idealism, disillusionment. 3. Past, present, future arc. You've come out of this, you're in this now, this is coming. Tarot archetypes. Frame with imagery like the Fool, Judgment, or the Star as anchors. Tools: natal chart, transits, word association as reflective cues. Symbolic tarot overlay to tie it together. Why this structure works. Avoids trying to cover the whole chart. Honors intention as the organizing principle. Uses your system's strength without overshadowing traditional astrology. Provides a consistent but flexible session arc. Orient, deepen, time it, reflect. 5. Follow-up reading strategy. How to sustain momentum and deepen the client journey. Purpose of follow-up readings. The first session lays the foundation, but astrology is cyclical and human evolution unfolds over time. Follow-up sessions allow for integrating what was revealed, tracking ongoing transits and inner work, introducing new chart tools gradually, honoring the symbolic timing of the soul's journey. A follow-up is not a repeat of the first, it's a continuation, refinement, and application of the insights already revealed. A. How to open a follow-up session. Unlike the first session, which begins with intention discovery, a follow-up opens with reorientation. Key questions to ask. What landed with you from our last session? Have any of the themes we discussed shown up in real life since then? Is there a particular thread you'd like to go deeper into today? Would you like to continue tracking that transit we spoke about, or shift to something else? You're listening for confirmation. Did they notice what was predicted? Friction. Are they struggling with an integration point? Change. Has something new emerged? This sets the narrative frame for the follow-up. B. Type of follow-up readings and when to use them. Each type serves a distinct function. Below is a breakdown of timing and tools. Number 1. Transit tracking session, 4 to 6 weeks later. Ideal for clients navigating unfolding change or long outer planet activations. Check progress on previously discussed transit, example, Pluto square Sun. Add upcoming inner planet triggers, example, Mars activating the square. Offer concrete suggestions for timing or embodiment. Tools, transits, word associations, lunar cycle overlays. Avoid rereading the natal unless needed for context. 2. Solar return sessions, near or just after birthday. Frames the upcoming year thematically. Anchor with solar return chart structure. Identify chart ruler of the year. Key house activations. Relationship to natal chart. Overlay method. Tools, solar return, natal overlay. Optional, tarot deacon cards for solar ascendant or midheaven. 3. Relationship follow-up, after synastry, conflict, decision. For those revisiting relational themes, partnership growth or breakups. Review long-term synastry aspects. Track transits to Venus, Moon, and the 7th house. If reconciliation is being attempted, progressed moons and composite chart. Tools, synastry, composite, progressed moon. Avoid pulling in third-party overlays unless symbolic support is requested. 4. Saturn-Jupiter return check-ins every 6 to 12 months. Track growth and structure during long-term initiations. Identify developmental benchmarks. Reinforce themes from first session. Reflect. Are they aligning with the responsibility opportunity phase? Tools, natal Saturn, Jupiter returns. Tarot card pull to affirm phase archetype, example, the World or the Hierophant. 5. Lunar return, short-term guidance, monthly. Useful for ongoing clients using astrology for decision-making or spiritual practice. Track emotional tides and short-term fluctuations. Used to plan launches, conversations, self-care windows. Quick 30 to 45-minute check-ins. Tools, lunar return, transit moon plus progressed moon. Word association for each new moon, full moon theme. C. Integrating new layers over time. Don't introduce every tool in the first session. Let the system evolve organically for the client.
Session. First. Tools introduced. Nettle select transits, intention. Session second. Tools. Solar return. Deeper house/aspect analysis. Session third. Tools. Synastry/composite, if needed. Progressed moon. Session. Ongoing. Tools. Tarot decan overlays for guidance or affirmation. Predictive layering. Returns.
Think of your system as a scaffold. Each session builds upon the last. D. Closing a follow-up session. You're reinforcing continuity. End with, you're entering phase 2 of this transit cycle. The next 3 months will test what you've integrated so far. Let's revisit this again in early September. Saturn will be making an exact aspect then. Offer optional reflective practices. Journal prompts from tarot overlays. One-word mantra from the word association chart. Timing to schedule the next session, if appropriate. Why this structure works. Keeps clients engaged without redundancy. Honors the cyclical nature of astrology. Creates a journey arc rather than a series of unrelated sessions. Allows your system's richness to unfold gradually, never overwhelming the client. 6. How and when to integrate your system-specific tools. Word associations, tarot decan overlays, archetypal enhancements. A. Principle of integration. Tools serve meaning, not the other way around. Your system includes powerful enhancements, word associations, tarot decan overlays, and symbolic archetypes, but these should be treated as lenses, not replacements for traditional analysis. Their purpose is to deepen emotional resonance, translate planetary dynamics into client-friendly language, spark intuitive insights, offer symbolic closure or affirmation. When used after traditional interpretation has grounded the client, these tools become bridges between intellect, soul, and subconscious. B. Timing, when to use them in a session. Here's a breakdown of optimal entry points for each tool type, depending on where you are in the reading flow. 1. Word association charts for signs, planets, and transits. Use when a client struggles to name or describe an emotional pattern. You want to simplify or distill complex transits. You've already explained the core mechanics and now want to connect to language they'll remember. Sample uses. This Mars transit isn't just about conflict, it's associated with the words initiation, pressure, and assertion. Which of those feels like your current experience? Your Venus-Saturn square might feel cold. In our system, the keywords are restriction, delay, and worthiness. Avoid starting the reading with keyword dumps. It can feel mechanical or ungrounded without the client's story in view. Number 2, tarot decan overlays for planetary placements or transits that fall within specific decans. Use when you want to illustrate the archetypal tone of a natal planet or transit. The client benefits from visual or symbolic imagery. You're closing a session and want to offer a metaphorical integration. Sample uses. Your sun is in the second decan of Capricorn, which in our overlay system connects to the Three of Pentacles. This shows that your selfhood is meant to be built through collaborative mastery. That Pluto transit to your Mars is in the third decan of Aries, linked to the Queen of Wands. There's power and magnetism there, but it requires owning your fire responsibility. Best practice. Use the tarot image as an archetypal mirror, not a divinatory card draw. C. How to choose which tool to use. Use this decision filter during a reading.
Ask yourself, is the client struggling to articulate a feeling? Then use word association. Ask yourself, is the client navigating an intense planetary activation? Then use tarot decan overlay of that planet's decan. Ask yourself, is there a disconnect between chart and lived experience? Then use ask questions, plus then offer symbolic reinforcement.
You don't need to use every tool in every session. In fact, many sessions are strongest when just one symbolic layer is introduced at the right moment. D. Examples of integrated tool usage by reading type.
Session type, natal identity reading tool, word association, integration point. After describing sun, moon, rising. Session type, relationship session, tool, tarot decan on Venus or Mars. Integration point, after explaining core romantic pattern. Session type, career decision, tool, word association for Saturn. Integration point, during Saturn transit explanation. Session type, transit forecast, tool, tarot decan of transiting planet. Integration point, after naming timeline and themes.
E. Language tips for symbolic tools. Instead of saying, this card means you'll meet someone, say, The archetypes here suggest a theme of reevaluating how you connect. It doesn't predict, it reveals tone. Instead of, your Venus is the Nine of Cups, say, in our overlay system, Venus in this decan is symbolically aligned with the Nine of Cups. That speaks to emotional fulfillment, but also temptation towards complacency. This tone is interpretive, not prescriptive. Why this structure works: keeps the symbolic layers in a supportive role, prevents overwhelm or substitution of system tools for core astrology, honors the integrity of your extensive training system, helps build emotional engagement and psychological clarity. 7. Structuring long-term journeys. How to plan and sequence multi-session astrology paths for clients. Why offer long-term journeys? Most clients come for one reading, but may stay when they realize astrology can support an evolving life path. Offering a long-term journey deepens trust and relationship with the astrologer, allows for slow, layered revelation of chart dynamics, supports integration through time-based check-ins, turns astrology into a tool for living, not just knowing. A client doesn't need more information, they need timely insight sequenced for real life. A. The core idea. Map their evolution to plan your support. Use their astrological cycles as the spine of your planning. Look at age-related transits, Saturn, Jupiter, Uranus phases, life transitions, career, relationships, parenthood, relocation, emotional windows, Chiron, progressed moon, eclipses, karmic movement, nodal return, Pluto transits. This allows you to purpose a meaningful calendar of sessions based on their chart, not guesswork. B. Sample long-term formats based on chart rhythm. Number 1. The annual journey, 3 to 4 sessions across the year. For soul-oriented clients or those seeking personal development. Session 1, birth month, natal plus solar return. Theme, your ahead forecast with Saturn-Jupiter overlay. Session 2, 3 to 4 months later, transit review plus lunar return. Theme, integration check plus new emotional cycle. Session 3, mid-year, progressed moon plus Chiron-Saturn transits. Theme, deep phase or shadow themes emerging. Session 4, end of the year, completion plus eclipse node prep. Theme, closure, harvest, preparation for next cycle return. Tools, solar return, transits, progressions, word associations, optional, archetypal task or journaling between sessions. 2. The transit series, 2 to 5 sessions during a major transit. For clients in a defined life crisis or threshold. Example, Pluto square Sun, Saturn return, Uranus opposition. Session 1, onset of transit, natal plus incoming transit. Theme, what's being tested, transformed. Session 2, 1/3 into the transit, what's begun shifting, where is resistance. Tools, word associations, tarot decan overlays. Session 3, halfway point, naming the shadow, re-anchoring Dharma. Optional, solar-lunar return if relevant. Session 4 to 5, closing phase. How to move forward with insight, not residue. Use integration tools plus short-term planning. Tools, transits, natal, lunar returns. Use overlays when intensity peaks. 3. Relationship journey, 2 to 3 sessions over cycle of change. For people exploring love, breakup, or compatibility. Session 1, relationship discovery or crisis. Natal, Venus, Moon, 7th house, synastry. Identify patterns, triggers, and attraction karma. Session 2, clarity or continuation. Composite chart, transit overlays. Look at timelines, shared challenges, or progress markers. Session 3, after transition or commitment. Forecasting shared transits. Focus on long-term harmony or integration of tension. Tools, synastry, composite, tarot decans for Venus-Mars. Use archetypes to reframe emotional dynamics. C. Best practices for long-term journeys. Number 1. Always review the last session before starting the next. Last time we spoke, we were tracking your Saturn return. How has that landed so far? Number 2, name the evolutionary phase. This is the dissolution part of your Neptune square. The rebuilding starts in 4 months. Number 3, use minimal tools per session. Layering is best done across time, not in one sitting. Number 4, offer closing reflection or ritual. A symbolic gesture like a mantra, tarot image, or journaling prompt helps solidify the cycle. Number 5, invite but don't pressure rebooking. This cycle continues through next spring. If you'd like, we could revisit it then. The emergence of intuitive mastery. As you continue your journey through the full scope of our training modules, and, just as importantly, as you begin reading for more and more individuals, you'll find that your ability to determine what to read and how to read it will naturally evolve. While the foundational techniques we teach will always serve as your anchor, experience will gradually sharpen your instincts. You'll begin to notice patterns, subtleties, and energies within each chart that go beyond the surface. You'll learn when a chart calls for a deep dive into psychological insight, when to focus on timing and outer events, or when a mythic soul-level interpretation is more appropriate. This kind of discernment can't be rushed or forced. It arises organically through practice, reflection, and trust in the process. In time, you will no longer rely solely on set structures or outlines. Instead, you'll move fluidly between them, guided by a well-trained intuition rooted in lived experience. This is where astrological technique becomes true artistry, where reading a chart becomes an act of presence, perception, and attunement to the person before you.